As usual, got some really good topics to go through. So what I'm going to do, I got a lot of questions last week, so I'm going to start going through my rant or open my can of worms up, and then I'll hand it over to you guys to let me know if you've got any thoughts or questions on what I say. Okay, so first question is pretty topical because this week I'm running the Groundwork challenge, which is awesome. So I promise everyone that I will get to your videos and comment on them and go through and give you some feedback. It's just that I'm actually fighting with a whole lot of like iMovies I'm fighting with, Canva I'm fighting with, and YouTube's just not being nice. So when I get through all that tonight, I'll sit down and look at everyone's videos for it. But from the ones I've seen, they're just so cool. It's so good to see everyone out there practicing. Okay, so first question is, what are your top 5 groundwork activities that you would recommend other than backing and flexing exercises that I shown last week? So my really, really simple groundwork. So I kind of discovered I used to do lots of different fancy groundwork. And this is just for basic foundation stuff. I used to, do leg yielding and, you know, turn on the hind quarter and all these fancy things. But I actually discovered that if I just did a couple of things, but did them really, really well, that was actually better than doing lots of different exercises. It's like I really was able to trace back every single thing that we kind of do under saddle as a foundation and trace it back to like really important key exercises for it. And so that's what I focus on. And so it's very, very simple, but they have to be done very, very well. So my top 5, besides round penning, so round penning's really where I establish so much, and it's a really easy place for the horse to learn and does so much good things for their fitness and anxiety and for teaching you guys or whatever how to train horses. I suppose my next one would be just say the lunging exercises. So the lunging exercises takes the horse from the round yard where the walls of the round yard are controlling or containing the horse to the horse learning to actually follow the feel of the end of a rope. Okay, so the horse connected to a rope or a rein for them to feel and to follow that direction, and so that links in to the reins under saddle. Next thing is probably I would say desensitizing activities, because people think it's actually desensitizing. When you look at my video on desensitizing, you see that I do this big spiel about how I might call it desensitizing and lots of other people call it desensitizing, but it's actually not desensitizing. It's actually really, to me, it's more to do with the horse accepting things that we do to it, but also to being able to observe you closer, and to see the difference of when you actually want them to do something and you actually, or you don't want them to do anything, but you're creating a lot of noise and energy around them. So it really gets them to really tune into you, and to tune into your thoughts and a whole lot deeper stuff. So that's very handy. So lunging, desensitizing, yielding the hindquarters and disengaging. Wow, is that an important that's an important exercise. That's an important exercise because it goes into so much, leads into so much of stuff under saddle. It's where it originates. But it's also like a very powerful gymnastic exercise, because I'm going to have a question shortly about building top line. And you actually build top line by building bottom line, which is the core. Okay, and yielding the hind end is such a powerful exercise for starting engaging all those core muscles and mobilizing the spine and the pelvis and the rib cage and all these types of things. That would sit in number 3. Number 4, I would probably say would be something simple like a head down cue. I probably say that. And then I'm going to say something else a little bit weird, which you're going to think is a bit strange, but I'll actually say resting by the mounting block. I create a lot of good stuff by resting by the mounting block. Really setting the horse up to be solid at the mounting block. And if you get a horse really solid at the mounting block and feeling good about the mounting block, you'll also got a good start to your ridden stuff. So yeah, there's some strange ones for you. So just seeing if anyone else has any comments about that. Oh no, does it keep stopping? So it keeps stopping. I'm sorry, guys. I hope it's kind of still kind of going and not stopping and starting. Can you just let me know how it is all going for everybody? Just type me some things to see. Might yours is dropping out really badly. Okay, that's not cool. Okay, I'm just going to kill my YouTube upload just to see. Just hang on tight there, guys. I won't be a sec. I'm just going to kill YouTube. All right. Okay, I just killed YouTube. All right, so how's that going for everybody? Is it getting a little bit better? I just killed YouTube because I think that was taking a lot of drain. All right, so you could just give me a report on that, guys. That just lets me know what it's like for you. Okay, so that were my, it stops but seemed to start back up where it cut out. Okay, that's really disappointing. It is just a pretty bad internet day here in Tamil. It's because everyone's locked down, and so all anyone could do was to actually probably be on the internet. Okay, chat amongst yourselves. Okay. Yeah, it's struggling a bit, but it does catch up. So I think we still got the content. Okay, well, sorry about that, guys. I'll keep chugging along, and I'm sorry, and I'm hoping it's going to get a little bit better shortly. Yeah, I killed YouTube, you see. I killed YouTube, and that fixed everything up. Now I'm going to have to wait another 6 hours for YouTube to upload. Never mind. Okay, back to it. Okay, so that were my exercises. So the next question was, what would you consider groundwork exercises activities for those that are new to groundwork activities? To be able to explain what it is and what the variation of the activities. Oh, look, I start people as I do. I get them doing the back up forward yield exercise because that teaches so much, and it's a really good, very simple way of getting a horse with you and being able to calm them down. So that is just a really simple exercise. People start seeing the quality in how the horse is responding and learning how to tweak it and improve it. So that's a really important one. And of course, round penning. When you have to control a horse with nothing but just your presence and your body and your energy, and you making sure that you're very clear with your movements, okay, then that's a great place to start people training, is in there. I cannot recommend that high enough of the good things that it does for horses and you when it's done well. And of course, you're not chasing the horse around and traumatizing them in there and getting all confused. That's not cool. But when it's done well with good direction, it's be a very therapeutic place and learning space for both horse and human. Okay, moving on, and I'm glad now that killing YouTube was the best thing that I did. Okay, all right, next question. Hi, Shelley. I would be interested to know how you approach teaching a horse new things, such as hosing down or clipping if they don't like it. Okay, the first thing I do is I set them up with some obedience. Okay, everything with me starts with obedience. You've got to get the horse under a level of control and not taking over. So they've got to have them kind of in the box, in the zone that they're responding to you before you do it. Because if they're kind of out of their box and they're worried about something, it's going to be, a lot worse than if you've really got them contained and with you and responding to you. The next thing I do, just say with hosing and with clipping, be smart. Set them up so they want to stand still. So, start introducing these things after they've had work and they're actually motivated to stand still. The next thing is you've got to get them kind of cool, the horse good, with just the hose or just the clippers, okay? Without it being on squirting water everywhere or buzzing and being hot and shaving their hair off, okay? Just get them good with the actual apparatus thing, the hose, be able to have the hose near them, rubbing them with the hose. And with the clippers, just being able for them to, rub the clippers and stuff like that. And then you got to have it as low level. So with hosing, it's just a trickle, a tiny little trickle up on the withers. Okay, getting them good with that, like really, really low level. And then building up from there. And that's the most mistake people make with hosing is they turn the hose on too full on, and they start with the horse's legs, okay, which the horse really wants to protect. So you just start with rubbing them over with the end of the hose, and then like a little trickle out of the hose, and then you build it up from there. But you do it in the wither area and just let it just slowly trickle down the horse. That's the best way. Then with clippers are a little bit more tricky. I find getting them just good with the clippers themselves, and then with the clippers just buzzing and getting used to that noise and the feeling of buzzingness on them. And you can always mix in with some clicker training on there. Clicker training is really gold and such a useful training tool to have in your pocket when you get horses good with stuff. So get horse, that can really help. That's actually called systematic desensitization by counter conditioning. That's actually got a long word, but you can do some great things with clicker training and getting horses cool with stuff. But with clippers, I buy those little, sometimes you even get them for free and stuff. Those little tiny those little tiny clippers that are used just to clip bridle paths and things like that. They're a really good place to get horses good with clippers, is just those, because they buzz, they kind of make a noise, and they can kind of clip a little bit without being the full-on clipper. So you get horses really good with that. And if you can get them associated, so when you're using clicker training and treats or whatever to do this systematic desensitization counter condition, right, you make them think. You got to make them think that when the clippers come out, it's party time. Okay, and you just build that up slowly, and that's how you get horses good with things they're worried about, is that you start really small and you change their perception of it. Okay, just going to have a look at some quotes, some comments now about that. So Hanifa, Jasper keeps moving back from the mounting block when I dismount. Okay, you've got a Hanifa. My tip for you with Jasper is to do the groundwork and then just stand when you rest him. Okay, rest him near the mounting block. Okay, just rest him near it, and make that the rest spot. So I make horses think the mounting block is the greatest place on earth. Okay, because we at a point in groundwork we do a lot of resting by it. Hanifa, like moving backwards from the mounting block when I dismount. I did this exercise today. Okay. So just do a lot of resting there and a lot of standing by the mounting block, getting on and off the mounting block. So I think the mounting block's awesome. Jess, my mare hates the round yard where I gist her. It's a tyre fence, so she can't see out, but she doesn't really relax in there. Much better in the paddock online. Okay, well, that's what you find. I normally find what you can do with that is that you can actually counter condition the round yard. So, take her in there and, feed her carrots and then go out. Get her associating that place with a good place. And you can really change horses' perceptions of the round yards, because typically sometimes back in their past they've had a really crappy experience in there, and that's why they can have a bad association with the round yard. That being worried about where other horses are and if they can see, that can actually be like a bit of a separation anxiety thing as well. So sometimes just continuing work and working through that and allowing them to work that kind of worry out of their system in the round pen can actually be quite therapeutic for them. Yeah, but just doing something like making the round pen just like a fabulous place they get a carrot is a really good place to start. Okay, moving on. Okay, why a horse has a high head and bent to the outside when lunging at trot. Okay, and exercises to correct and find the underlying issue. This is a good question because it can actually be one of four things and all four things. Okay, so it can be tension. Okay, so when a horse gets tense, it gets kind of bent out of shape. So it just can be worried about, being online and the feel on its face and the restraint, and, it just can have like a bad understanding and clarity and motivation and confidence in what it's doing that can cause tension. So it just can be tension. It can be bracing because horses are not following the feel properly from their halter, so they brace. And when a horse braces, of course, it tips its head to the outside because it's bracing against the halter. And I've got lots of exercises to help with that. But yeah, that can actually be like it's something that it's learnt and it's wanting to protect itself, and that's why it's bracing. It's bracing to the outside and becoming counterbent. The other thing it can be is the horse's natural asymmetry. So all horses do have a slight bend through their body, okay? A slight bend. So one way they fall in and one way they fall out, and that's caused by natural asymmetry. And of course, on the way that they can like kind of fall in, that's normally the way that they're counterbend, okay? And so that can be magnified. And of course, those things are magnified with tension as well. The natural asymmetry of the horse will be magnified when they're tense. Also can be unsoundness. Okay, so unsoundness can cause counterbending because the horse counterbends to weight different legs differently. Okay, and as I said, it can be all four. So how you tackle it and try to find out why is, first of all, you go for the obvious things. Is the horse at all lame or sore? You know, you're having a look at your equipment and things like that. Putting them in a round pen is good because there's nothing connected to their head, so they can show you a little bit more of how they naturally move. However, then what I do is I get rid of, then just so I can't see anything, okay, and someone sees them, farrier sees, and I can't see anything wrong with the horse. So kind of that doesn't mean the horse is not unsound. It means it's not obviously unsound or sore. Then I tackle it by getting rid of tension and brace, and I do that by educating and training them, okay, in a real stepwise, thoughtful way. And then what happens with that? The education then helps the natural asymmetry. And what happens? I know it's unsoundness if I don't get improvement in the horse. So if the horse fails to learn or is inconsistent in its response or continues to counterbend, then I know something's going on. But powerful groundwork exercises just to help, like let's just say it's asymmetry, okay? Then powerful groundwork exercises are the hindquarter yield and my follow the feel exercise that we're going to be doing in a couple of days in the groundwork challenge, which is all about the horse learning to follow that feel of the halter on its face into the center. So that can be, they're both very therapeutic for helping with that. Okay, I'm just going to turn my attention to the comments, guys. So if anyone's got any comments about, you know, counterbending and bracing, etc., online. So Haley, the mighty banana Flynn, used to do this often when round penning. He seems much better the last few days, though. Yeah, as their tension comes down, okay, their tension and their understanding and their focus improves to you in the round pen, and they relax. You see them go from like counterbend, looking over the fence, to looking to you because their thoughts are towards you and not getting the hell out of here as quick as possible. Okay, so that can change their body a lot, and that's what I said. Training and education and allowing them to be motivating them and allowing them to get confident is very therapeutic for them. Okay, any more comments? Alrighty, moving on now. So next question is, my question is, when breaking a young horse, can you teach several things at once or one thing at a time, e.g. getting used to being hosed in conjunction with, say, round penning or mouthing? How I'll answer this is like, yeah, you can work on a number of things, but not at the one time, you know? So I don't throw multiple things at them at once. So just I sent a video the other day by someone wanting me to have a look at a horse, and it was with a trainer, and it was being broken in, and it was being kind of round penned for the first time. No, it was online. It was actually had a halter and lead on, but they'd stuck a bridle and bit in its mouth at the same time. So the horse didn't really have a clue about how to be ground worked in a halter and lead, and they'd stuck a bit in its mouth as well. You know, and it's like, oh look, horses for courses. That will many ways to roam in training horses, but that's kind of getting the horse kind of like two massive things, like something in its mouth and being taught to round pen at the same time. Both those things kind of give the horse some stress, and then you're expecting it to learn. It just means that it learns quite messy, and it makes it such like a bit of an ordeal for it, so it can perceive it negatively. So I will teach a number of things per day, but I'm kind of doing them in a stepwise phase. I catch the horse, that's one thing, you've got to teach them to be caught. And then they got to lead. They got to, well, you got to, lead them, and you got to pick out their feet and put on their protection boots, and they got to be tied up for a certain amount of time and groomed, etc. So that's another aspect of training. And then they've got to be caught, led from the paddock to, where you're going to groom them and pick their feet out, put their protection boots on and stuff. And then they've got to lead from there to, where you work them, which might be a round pen. And then we work on round penning, and in there, we're just working on, just say, forward, stop, rest, that kind of thing. And that's fine. And then they got to, lead back. And then, then they've got to be practice with they might be hosed off, so you might introduce that, but you're introducing everything. You're not just swamping everything at once or giving them too much to do at one time for them to cope with. Yeah, so I keep it simple, but there's lots of little things that you're working on that you're just adding on. And I'll say it a few times in this live because I've got a few other questions coming up. I focus to start with on any training thing what they can do well. The first things I teach them, just say, leading, so they get that good. So that's like kind of the main focus. And then we add on, we'll go into the round pen and we'll do something simple. And then we quit. So I always get the horse to start with what it's been doing, which it knows the most, the stuff it's most comfortable with, and that it's the most proficient at. We always start there. The hard things or the new things I always add on at the end. Okay, so we always start what the horse is good and confident with, or gaining some confidence with, and then I'll add on then. But I don't keep adding new thing, new thing, new thing, new thing, new thing. We just keep allowing the horse to develop what's called mastery. So when a horse is, well, anything is learning anything, there's a learning curve, right? There's a learning curve. And the start of the learning curves where it's all new and it's a bit messy and they're not so good at it. But then, like, as they learn, it starts plateauing out as they get mastery. So you want to get them to do at the starter sessions. And we know when you start working them, it's all the stuff that they're getting really good at. Okay, you always start there, and you only add on some difficulty. I add on the difficult or the new stuff at the end because I do it for two reasons. First of all, I'm getting them in, like, feeling successful that they've been able to work with me. That's number one. So I've kind of set that precedence in the session where I've worked the horse. But number two, I make the end of sessions party time. I talked about that in my last live about how the end of the session, when you finish working with them, is party time. And so I put the hard, difficult, new things before party time. And there's an animal training, well, not in animal, works with humans as well. It's called the pre-MAC principle. And it means whatever comes before something good will also get tainted in that good. Okay, so I do things that are new and a little bit tricky at the end of training sessions because it comes just before party time. And then you have horses that are, they're quite looking forward, to that new thing you did because it means party time's coming up. So just being able to change that mindset and put positive kind of associations with things is powerful in training. So I hope that answers that particular question. Okay, so I'm just going to go to if you got any questions, like write them down now and I'll have a look. I haven't got any questions. I hope that doesn't mean that I've dropped out again. That would be a bit devastating. All right, so if someone can please give me a comment to make sure that the comments are working, that would be good. And I am just going to turn on Facebook to see that it's not there. Okay, no one's given a comment. That would be good. And I am just going to turn on Facebook. All right, so can someone write me a comment? Would be good. Good. Thanks, Sharon. Woohoo. Okay. Woohoo. Okay, this has been an exciting live. Okay, all right, good. Okay, moving on. A can of worms question now. Awesome. Okay, does a horse lose balance first, then focus, or focus, then balance? Okay, so what comes first? So let's just talk about balance first of all. So horses are really sensitive to feeling unbalanced. They really don't like it. It's like something that can really upset them more so than us, and they feel unbalanced. Okay, So what can happen is that it's actually both. So a horse can feel unbalanced, okay? But you can still have its mind, okay, and its focus. However, if it gets unbalanced to a point, it'll start feeling uncomfortable. And if that uncomfort grows and the horse starts feeling really uncomfortable, what happens then? The horse starts perceiving the world and things happening to it negatively. And also, not only that, it can feel so uncomfortable that it will become stressed. And when anyone, humans, animals, horses, or whatever, become stressed, they then start perceiving the world negatively, and their ability to cope with things reduces, and you'll see them becoming reactive or lash out or a conflict behavior. Okay, now a horse, so that means a horse can be unbalanced, but it can still have its focus, but only for a period of time until it gets too uncomfortable. Okay, now a horse can also lose balance by losing focus. Okay, because what can happen, a horse can, and I've talked about this with my herd dynamic stuff, which is really fascinating stuff. A horse's mind and body can sometimes separate from itself, and some horses are more prone to it. Like I described those, those horses that are described as, you know, fast rev horses, or horses where their body can go faster than their minds. Okay, and it takes them a while. They're the horse that I call movers, that have to move for their brain to be able to, like, their brain and their body to kind of catch up with each other. So horses can become unbalanced if they're one of those. Their body can start reacting, and their mind hasn't caught up yet. So horses, their mind goes over there, their body goes over there, and of course there's imbalance there. So both can happen. So a horse can lose its balance and lose its focus, okay, eventually, or a horse can lose its focus and then lose its balance. Totally possible. Lots of people just really stick to one belief or the other. So dressage people that are very into biomechanics just focus purely on the horse just being this biomechanically creature that if you make it balanced, the whole world will be lovely. Without kind of, sometimes they don't appreciate the horse has a mind and feelings and thoughts and ideas about stuff. But then there's the other camp, horsemanship, kind of just very generalized about it. They can just think of the horse's mind all the time and forget they have a body and biomechanics can influence how they feel. Okay, the truth is it's both. Horses are mind and body, and you have to be able to work and appreciate both. Have I got any questions from that? All right. Okay, next question is on Topline, which I already kind of touched on. So with Topline, building Topline, how quickly can this happen? I'm interested in others' opinions, as I swear my horse's Topline improved after only a few round pen sessions. Okay, so the key to Topline is a few things. First of all, you can't have tension. Okay, if you got tension through the horse, the muscles don't work properly. Okay, you need to have the horse not tensing and bracing itself. If you got tension and bracing itself, the movement is not going to be able to build the muscle. Okay, the next thing is what I already mentioned earlier on, is to build top line, you've got to build bottom line. The horse's core and the core muscles or whatever is really important. In fact, because what happens, building top lines created by, building this particular posture you want them to assume and to be able to hold that posture. However, to be able to hold that posture, you need certain muscles to be able to hold it, which then builds top line muscles. And that's core. Okay, so that's building the horse's core. So you've got to focus on building the core first, to be able to support the posture, which then builds top line. So round penning's great because it's really good in getting the horse, the horses feel successful in doing, they open up, they breathe, a whole lot of good stuff happens. But, also they're relieving tension. So a lot of tightness is coming out of muscles. And so you're actually seeing the horse more relaxed instead of this tension through their body. So you start seeing the horse's muscle chains start working properly, and that has a positive effect. Okay, so that's why. Look, simple things you can do for top line is that you can do really simple things, just say at walk. So even if you're bringing a horse back or rehabbing a horse, you can start really digging into that bottom line, that the core muscles, by doing simple things, backing up, okay, and that tips the pelvis, okay, that tips the pelvis and engages those muscles. So back up, this is all walk, back up, hind quarter yields, getting the horse to bend around and step that inside hind over that outside hind. Then you can do stepping over poles, backing up down a hill, up a hill, walking the horse up and down hills. These are all things that you can do that are like yoga or Pilates for horses, that can have, be really good. Because what you got to get muscle chains working. You got to get the nervous system innervating the nerves correct. If a horse has been tense for a long time or working incorrectly, all reset that. So doing a rehab program on the ground is really good to completely reset the horse and get that core kind of engaging before you get on it, back on the horse, and get everything moving. So just doing walk exercises is really the powerful starting point. Going into, just say, the groundwork exercises that I say are very good, because again, reducing tension, educating, getting the horse moving, and getting them kind of relaxed and confident doing that. That's setting the horse up for building top line. But remember what I said: no top line until you get posture, no posture until you get until you got core strength. That's all you got to build bottom line before top line, and it all starts with the horse not being tense or bracy. Okay, it all starts there. Okay, so just looking at comments now, if you guys have anything. How to make it party time. Oh, Joe, party time? Party time is carrots, molasses water. It is party time, okay? It's nice brushing. It's things the horse likes doing. It might be a nice, being able to go have a nice chew on the grass in the front paddock. Okay, it's all good things that the horse really enjoys, okay? Treats, scratches, hanging out, eating grass, molasses water, cordial drinks, things like that. Okay, that's party time. That's making the end of work really cool. Okay, Zoe, Bridget's bottom line is a semicircle because she does because she goes round in a different way. Yeah, that's because she's lost a core. Lots of horses can do that when they haven't been worked, is they lose their core. Okay, and you can see that it just, their belly hangs down. So lots of horses that are actually considered fat, okay, or overweight, it's actually because their core's gone on them, and you actually have to rehab the core. When you rehab the core and you rebuild it, those horses are not so fat anymore. Okay. Okay, Sonia, walk rehab exercises, definitely interested in that. Yeah. No, well, I'll give more information about that out. We've got lots of cool challenges coming up and stuff like that, where I'll release some exercises and get everyone to practice them. Haley, heel work, is that best at just a walk, or can you play? Oh yeah, walk and trot. Walk and trot is best for heel work because it works the horse evenly. Cantering up hills is a little bit one-sided. So, well, that's what I've heard. Like Gillian Higgins, Horses Inside Out, she's a great resource for things like that, and she says walk, trot, hill work is best. Question, but I'm just cleaning out the yards and the stables at the moment, and some of my horses poo in one spot and others are not so accommodating. Watch this reason. Oh, don't you love the horse that just poos in one spot? And normally it's a gelding. And there is a reason for this. Well, and it's a hypothetical reason, but stallions tend to be they tend to poo in certain spots in terms of territory spots and things like that. So the horses that I've seen do this, that poo in one spot and are the greatest horses to clean the yards up, have typically been geldings. They've typically been horses that also might have been gelded just a tiny little bit late, not right away, and they also tend to grow up in quite a natural environment. So they're the horses that I believe are more set up to poo in one spot. Other geldings that I've known that got kind of gelded early and that didn't really grow up in a natural herd environment, they've just pooed everywhere and not given a damn. I haven't really met many mares that actually do it, but I just did a little bit of research previously, And some mares, depending on the cycle or whatever, it must have to do with their hormones or whatever. Some can be cleaner than others because of that, but they believe it's got a hormonal reason. And also mares, apparently mares that have been treated with anabolic steroids, okay, for various reasons, for for healing or doing whatever, they can actually also develop this pattern pooing in the yard as well. So it's obviously a hormonal base. Tends to be more stallions and geldings, and it's related to kind of some natural behaviors, and I believe it's more also influenced by how the horse grew up. Okay, all right. Now I've got some good questions to finish off. I hope I can get to them because these were some new questions from from this week. Okay, so this was from Beck. I have a question about licking and chewing. I know we don't want them doing it when they are zoned out or half asleep after losing interest in us, but what about other times? Does it mean anything if they are doing if they're doing it during active learning, or are they just tired? Okay, so I went on this massive journey of stress gestures and stress behaviors with horses. Um, and I wrote lots of blogs about it. Like years ago, I kind of got into it and looking at it and being able to, read and analyze horses. But to be honest, I actually kind of discovered it was a bit of a red herring because let's just take licking and chewing. Horses, when they start getting now I've got to use the word aroused, even though the word aroused kind of has other connotations associated with it. I want the word aroused when I use it now to mean like how stressed they're getting, okay? And there's good stress and bad stress. There's good arousal, and then it flips into not so good arousal to being terrible arousal when the horse is freaked out, overwhelmed, and not good, okay? But there's a good level of arousal that you've got to have. So horses, when they're becoming aroused, okay, will lick and chew, okay? Licking and chewing. So licking and chewing can mean the horse is becoming a little stressed, a little aroused, and also mean that they're coming down from being aroused. So, so is the horse coming up? Is they going up, or are they going down? This is the question. So many people assume it's better, like they're coming down and it's a good sign. Well, it might be them actually going the other way and actually getting worried. And I've got lots of video footage of horses becoming worried that have started to lick and chew. Okay, so it can be you can say it is them getting stressed and them becoming unstressed. Which one is it? Okay, so you've got to take into context what's happening to the horse. The next thing is, and this is my big thing, right? When you teach an animal, a human, anything, you actually need them slightly aroused. I don't want to walk into a room of people that I'm about to teach and they're all half asleep or meditating away and asleep and calm and relaxed and staring out the window. You don't. You've got to have a bit of energy about them. Learning requires stress and arousal for it to take place. And sometimes it also requires you to go a little bit, getting a little bit worried about something to take something on as well, okay? It becomes a problem when that flips too far the other way and the horse, animal, human, whatever, becomes overwhelmed. But you've got to work in this zone of arousal, okay? You have to, or you don't learn. That's how anything learns and adapts and changes, is that to create that adaptation and change, there actually is stress involved. And people just label stress or arousal as bad, and it's not. You can't, when something's relaxed and not doing anything, it's actually not in a learning state. It's not in a learning state. We need to be relaxed and asleep and relaxed. And that's not when we learn, okay? You need stress. And the best example I had to prove that stress is not bad is the effect that of what stress does to joints, okay? So if you don't ever bend your elbow, like just say I broke my elbow, dislocated my elbow a number of years ago, and it was, I had it in a cast for 7 weeks. So 7 weeks, that elbow was not put under any stress. When they took the cast off, my elbow was stuck at I could hardly move it. It was stuck in a 90-degree angle for a number of weeks. And that's because it wasn't used. That's because it wasn't put under stress. So stress is necessary for life to occur and for adaptation in the body. Some stress is good. Now, I could also put a body under too much stress that would damage it. So stress is not a bad thing, okay? It's not a bad thing. Too much of it or chronic stress is bad, but we need that little bit of a stress of arousal. It's actually necessary and part of learning to actually get the horse has to be engaged. They have to be a little. So you're going to see licking and chewing and these kind of stress gestures. It's not a bad thing. It's actually, that's the kind of state you need the horse in to actually learn, to be engaged and learn. So you're going to see licking and chewing. So bottom line is, I got really into it, analyzing it. I wrote all these blogs about people look for this and look for that and look for this. But it's like, really, you're actually teaching them something. They are going to get stressed. Are they going up or are they coming down? That's a little bit academic. But what I do look at, what is important to me, what do I look at to gauge how a horse is going? And I look at how they answer my question. Okay, are they learning and how they are performing? Because how those horses, you can't really tell how stressed a horse is when it's standing still. Okay, or its emotions when it's standing still. That horses speak in their movement. So you ask them to do something and you see how they respond or react to you, and the movement and coordination of their legs, and that tells you how the horse is feeling. That lets you know whether it's confident, whether it's calm, whether it's willing, whether it's, whether it's upset or stressed or worried about stuff, is the movement. So don't look at the licking and chewing, okay? Watch how they move. Watch how they respond to you. That is the goal. That is the meaning there, not the licking and chewing, yawning, etc. It's not in there. It's how they respond to your questions. Okay, so there we go. There's my rant and my can of worms. Okay, any questions about that? All right. Ah, yes, the nuances of words. Okay, let's just have a look. I'm just going up to look at the comments. Haley, Flynn just poos when he's eating and makes no effort to pick a spot. Yes, there's always those horses. Okay, Lindsay, I have a new mare that does this. Oh, good. That's awesome. Licking and chewing constantly. Okay, that's because she's kind of, she's kind of stressed and a little bit worried. She might easily tip into that next point. And that's not necessarily a bad thing. I wouldn't focus on it or get worried about it. I'd be focusing on teaching her things and seeing how she's responding to you. Okay. All right. So Hanifa, I brought the mounting block, the big one, and Jasper was chewing his bit. Yeah. That's just the association with being ridden and stuff. Yeah, it's just a little bit of, it's stress, but it's you got to expect horses to go, okay, I'm about to be ridden and do some work. They're not necessarily going to go, oh, I'm just going to relax and not. They're going to feel with a little bit of stress. It's like if you're about to go for like a big mountain climb, or you're about to do some physical activity, you might go, right, I've got to, carry these shopping bags in. You might feel your blood pressure rise a little bit. So it depends about how negative it is and what else they're saying besides the chewing and the licking, if that makes sense. Okay, so he's fine with a little mounting block. Okay, maybe he's got some kind of negative association with the big mounting block anyway. Sonia, my youngster yawns a lot after learning new things. Yeah, they can, because they're tired, they're mentally tired, they've done a lot of work, it's putting them under pressure that way. But it's not necessarily a bad thing and not necessarily a good thing. Okay, it's just something that they do that you just can take note of, and then you can look at what else the horse is doing to kind of put it in some kind of context. But don't go labeling it good or bad or worrying or whatever. You watch how the horse learns and performs, because they tell you more in their movement. Okay, oh no, I was going to get to my really good question, and I've run out of time, which is really crummy. So I don't know, I might have to do a special live or something just for this question, because it was a really good question about horses being overwhelmed. But I'll finish there, because I will get cut off and you guys have only got the 45 minutes. So I'll address that question shortly. I might do a special little live presentation for that one, because it is a good question. It's a can of worms question and something that I can talk about. And I got some good comments from other people. That was really cool. Alrighty, guys. So I hope you're enjoying the groundwork challenge. There is a lot in it. I will, although I'll pull the content down and for the course on Monday, Tuesday next week. We will keep running for it for a little while longer than I said, because there are quite a few exercises and people don't have a lot of time, and I want you to really get in there and have that go and get my feedback. So please make sure that you watch all the videos, take some notes, etc. To help you out when you get to it. But if you can only just do one exercise per day or one exercise every couple of days, that's absolutely fine. It's all about getting out there and having a look and having a go, looking at other people's videos and, getting all that feedback. And so you get a better insight into the way that I train. Okay. Really good to hear from everybody, and I look forward to speaking to you soon. So get on to the challenges, okay? I'm really looking forward to that. Okay, guys, and don't forget to watch this one back or where you find it on YouTube. I'm doing a lot more on YouTube. Okay, guys, see you later.